Good afternoon. I'll be talking with you for just a few moments on the pastor evangelist as it relates to personal evangelism. Some years ago, as a young man while serving in the U.S. military, I met another young man who was a member of the Seventh Adventist Church. He was one that believed in sharing his faith, and so he witnessed to me. As a result of his witness, I became a Seventh Adventist Christian. He was one that believed in one-on-one witnessing. I've never forgot the impression that he's made upon me, and to this day we are truly brothers in the Lord. He was only 22 years of age, but yet within him the fires of personal evangelism burned. He could not keep the gospel to himself. He needed to share it with others. And in sharing the gospel with others through personal evangelism, I stand here today as a result of one of the converts to the Advent message. I believe very firmly in personal evangelism. Ellen White, in the book, The Ministry of Healing, page 143, wrote that Christ's method alone will give success in reaching the people. She said that the Savior mingled with men as one who desired their good. He showed his sympathy for them, ministered to their needs, won their confidence. Then he bade them, "Follow me." So as a pastor evangelist, one of those components that I've taken from her statement is I mingle with those that I plan to reach. You see, before there can be what we call public evangelism, there must first be personal evangelism. If pastor and evangelist, if there is no personal evangelism, there can, in essence, be no success, no real success in public evangelism. And so as a pastor evangelist, I believe very firmly in mingling. Mingling helps to do several things. Mingling helps us to understand the needs of those in that local home that we are ministering to. Mingling helps us to build bridges of friendship. Mingling does something else. Mingling helps us meet needs. Mingling happens many times in the homes. So it means that we must get out from the conference of our pastor studies and get out into the highways and byways, into the homes where the people are. That's the method of Christ. Christ found himself often mingling among those in the thoroughfares of life as he walked the face of this earth as our Savior and our Redeemer. We must do the same thing. We must get into the homes from house to house. And as we do that, we will see where the real needs are. In fact, if we are going to really preach the gospel and preach it the way it's supposed to be preached, not only in our church setting, but in public evangelistic meetings, then we must first of all find where the true needs are in the home. And when we find the true needs in the home, those needs and those visits will better inform our messages to help us preach messages that will really reach the hearts of the people. I'm reminded of a visit that I made in a home to a Vietnam-era veteran. This veteran had questions, and it was in the home while I was visiting with other members of my congregation that his question was answered. And he became a baptized member of that local congregation, and to this day, he is the head deacon of that local congregation. I'm reminded of a drug dealer that I met who also had questions. I met him on the streets, and he needed a quarter. I gave him a quarter. And as a result of that, there were other conversations that ensued, and he now is a baptized member, a lay evangelist, and an elder in his congregation. I'm reminded also of a sister that called in to our radio ministry, and she was somewhat hostile to our message of what the Adventist Church preaches. But we made a home visit, and home visits also break down the barriers. And so barriers were broken down, and she too became a baptized member of our local congregation. Which brings me to the next point. And that next point is, As a pastor evangelist, what are some of the preparations that we need to do before an appeal is made? What are some of the preparations that are needed, even not only before the appeal is made, but even in terms of baptism, before baptism takes place? Well, one thing is absolutely certain: we must make absolutely sure that we do the work of personal evangelism. Our personal evangelism is to not only families, but to individuals as well. That personal evangelism to families and to individuals in the home helps to build a bridge of friendship. Not only does it help to build a bridge of friendship, but it helps us to see where the needs are, because Christ was concerned about the needs of others. Not only was he concerned about the needs of others, but he sympathized with them. He wanted to meet their needs. And as he sympathized and he met their needs, and he not only bade them to follow him, but before he would bade them to follow him, he had won their confidence. And so by getting into the homes, we are able to win the confidence of individuals. We're able to build bridges of friendship. We're able to build a bond there. And as we preach these evangelistic meetings, we are able to make various appeals based on our home visits and knowing exactly what the needs are in those homes. And in some cases, as we look out into the congregation, we can see those that we've visited with. And as we see those we visited with, we know how to appeal so that they will make decisions for Christ. And so our visitations in the home help to inform our appeals that we make. Which now brings me to another point, and that is, what about lay pastors and lay evangelists and lay workers? What about making disciples for Christ? How is that done? Well, as a pastor, I believe very firmly in making sure that there are other disciples in the church other than myself that will help carry forth the work. And so we do this by having a Bible school, and in that Bible school, we're able to train those who are lay Bible workers. In that Bible school, we're able to mix and mingle with newly converted ones and prepare them so that they too will go out and win others for Christ. We have a Monday morning outreach team, and that Monday morning outreach team that is prepared and trained in the field, they go out and they give out literature. And as they give out literature, from the giving out of literature, that ultimately will lead some to call the numbers that we have placed in the book and on cards. But in addition to that, we do surveys in the community. And as a part of doing those surveys in the community, going house to house, we're able to help others be signed up for Bible studies. And by signing up for Bible studies, they're able to get those Bible studies, which ultimately leads to some of them being baptized. So I believe very firmly that those who come in and those who are part of our local congregation must, in essence, be trained to be disciples for Christ. And so in the words of Isaiah, chapter 6 and verse 8, Isaiah sent forth an appeal many generations ago when the question was asked, who will go? And Isaiah's response is, here am I, send me. And so today, pastors and evangelists, that appeal still comes home to you and I. God still asks the question today, who will go? Our response must be, God, here am I, send me. I will go. Pastors, evangelists, what about you? Will you go for Jesus today? We must go for him, because if we do not go for him, the gospel will not go anywhere. But if we go for him in personal evangelism, the gospel will go everywhere. Here am I, Lord, send me. Will you go? I will go. Together, let us go to reach our generation for Jesus Christ so that he will come soon. God bless you.